the last future leaders. How many of you have casted your vote in general election, state election? Raise your hands, please. What is the only one major difference we have in the regular voting process in general election, state election, and what we conduct voting process right now? What is the difference?
Next.
Okay, some other answers? Do you need a clue? Yes. Yeah. Whenever you see the contestant name on the general election, you see so many contestants. Do you still see a difference? What, sir?
Here are the selected people.
Sorry?
Selective people.
Selective people. Okay. Any other thing?
Qualified people.
No. Any other thing? The last contestant, what do you see? The last contestant. Whenever you vote, what do you see?
Nota.
Nota. Who said this? Good, good. Nota. None of the above. Because some people think they are not deserved for MLA or MP post in that election. But here, each and everyone deserve the position. Yeah. If to run this meeting smoother, to have a to have a smooth polling experience, let us switch off your mobile phones to silent mode. If you wish to step out or step in, do so when you hear an applause. Kindly refrain speaking on sensitive topics such as sex, politics and religion. Even though if your intentions are good, it may end up in a conflict. As I move on, she was the group lead in an BPO industry some years ago. To help her team members confidence on the speaking skills, she initiated a program called Speaking Club. Because her clients were majorly from an airline industry, such as British Airways, American Airlines, in that customer support, speaking English fluency is really important. The program is similar like our Toastmasters. They had prepared speeches, they had table topics, but it was conducted once in a month. But after 8 months, it got crashed. She reflects today that moment, and she thinks there were two things which were missing, which we do at our Toastmasters Club in general any Toastmasters meeting. What is that? Clapping.
Inspire.
Just a little bit closer.
Feedback.
A strong feedback loop. And the second one, structured pathways. That was missing in her speaking club. Let us welcome the reflective leader and the president of our club, Toastmaster Amrith. A big round of applause, please.
Good evening, dear Toastmasters and dear guests. Good evening. What are you doing today? Top of the world. Great. Today, I welcome you all to the legendary Bangalore Toastmasters Club. And I call to order meeting number 1529. Before we move further, I would like to request our standing secretary to please come on stage and read the previous minutes of meeting.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Welcome to the highlight segment of last week. The stars who made headlines in our club last week are as follows. The Best Speaker Award went to Toastmaster Divya and Toastmaster Jacob. The Best Table Topic Award went to Toastmaster Anirudh. The Best Role Taker Award went to Toastmaster Balakrishna Rao. Best Evaluator went to DTM Rajdeep Pandwani, and Best Auxiliary Role Taker was won by Toastmaster Mulesh. And that is the end of my meeting. Thank you.
Members, are there any changes? No? The minutes stand fast. today's meeting. And members, how do we welcome our guests? Well, thank you. Please take your seat. The Toastmaster Ankit and Toastmaster Karunaka, I remember extremely fondly that they conducted my speech craft. So thank you for joining the club meeting. Yeah? All right. Just for the benefit of guests, today's meeting a little special and slightly different. For the first half, we are going to have an education session, and immediately after that, there is going to be a club election for the upcoming term. And the club elections are only organized by the club members. So we will announce when that begins. Thank you. Our planet Earth is estimated to be formed 4.5 to 5 billion years ago. And since the time life started on Earth, the heat that we receive from sun has increased by nearly 25 to 30%. But despite of that increase, the conditions on Earth have remained within the limits of habitability. I find this extremely interesting and surprising. Let me share with you how that has been possible. In 1970s, a scientist, James Lovelock, and a microbiologist, Lynn Margulis, they came up with a theory. They called it the Gaia theory. As per their theory, they suggested that our Earth is a self-regulating living organism, which means that every time there is a change on Earth, all the living organisms respond to that change by adapting to it. And they don't just adapt, they also change the Earth conditions in return. And this cycle keeps going on and on. This is what they call as the feedback loop. Let me share a small, tiny example that would probably help to understand it better. Now, plants absorb carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. When the plant population or the forest die, the oceans start absorbing all that extra heat. When the heat and the carbon dioxide grows even more, the water starts evaporating. When the water evaporates, all the tiny microorganisms on the Earth's surface and also inside the ocean, they all start releasing compounds around those water molecules and they become clouds. Once the clouds form, what happens? Rain. After the rain happens, forests start flourishing again. Rivers start flowing and the ecosystems grow. But after some time, when the trees and plants are cut again or they die, oceans start absorbing more heat. And the whole cycle goes on and on and on. That is why James Lovelock and Lynn Margulis called planet a self-regulating living organism where everything is running in on a feedback loop. Everything is responding to the change, adapting and trying to create a balance. And that is how life has been able, the conditions have been sustainable to life for billions of years. I believe that Toastmasters somewhere biomimics our planet Earth. Because we also have a feedback loop. Every meeting, every speech is followed up by a feedback. A feedback is given, speaker improves and changes, speaker in return impacts the environment and the cycle goes on. So feedback is extremely important and is the most important element because of which Toastmasters has been thriving for over 100 years. Now we understand there is a feedback loop, and that is extremely essential for us to thrive. But how do we give feedback? And that is what our education session is all about today. And for our education session, we have someone who has been a corporate trainer for over 30 years. He has been helping corporates and organizations to self-regulate and grow. He has been part of Bangalore Toastmasters Club since 2002. And over these years, he has taken multiple leadership roles. In July 2005, VP membership, July 2006, VP education, and January 2013, club president. So ladies and gentlemen, with a thunderous applause, please join me in welcoming the boy who lives on top of the world, distinguished Toastmaster Vijay Anand.
Treat feedback as a gift, not a slap in the face. Madam President, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. Feedback is just not a Toastmasters if you ask me. Every walk of life. Professional front, personal front, and even social front. On a daily basis, we need to tell people what's not right, what they're doing, that kind of, it doesn't go down with us. But the key thing is it's easy to tell people what's going well. But what's really challenging, if you agree with me, telling people the pain points, where you can rub someone the wrong side, ruffle feathers, raise eyebrows. So that's what the session is about, how you can give feedback in a manner which is well received by the recipient, and at the same time, you get the message across without diluting it. That's the essence of it. Benefits, we have a few guests. I spoke to one lady, Divya, sitting there, and any other guests in the house? Oh yes, Mrs. I don't know her name, ma'am, Mrs. Fazul, right? Oh, that's right. Yes, thank you, ma'am, for coming. So apart from members, guests who agree with me, you're always giving feedback. It could be to a colleague at work, to a neighbor, right? The son giving perhaps to his father, things have changed today's world. Brother giving it to his sibling, husband giving it to wife. Oh, sorry, that's not the category. Sorry, that doesn't exist. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, many such feedbacks. Just kidding. We need to give feedback. Even when the stakes are high, the stakeholder is difficult to to come around. We have to give feedback. So what I'll do, I'll break it into two parts. Please start. Make you comfortable. Okay. So two parts. Part A are my 2 cents, what little I've learned about feedback, I will share with you. And the second part, I'll open the floor for questions. I'll be more than happy to answer questions regarding feedback. The colloquial thing in colleges, like, please refrain from outer syllabus stuff. Because I've got a very small pea-sized brain. I'm not sure people have feel such questions. Okay. So the first part, I'll use the word feedback itself. F-E-E-D-B-A-C-K. The first F, focus. If you ask me, as an evaluator, our focus should be how could I improve the person's ability as a public speaker? How could I add value? What could I suggest that could help him or her? That should be our focus. I'm sure all of us are doing it. Sometimes we get so caught up with ourselves, the focus turns inward. How do I appear as an evaluator? How do I sound? What are the words I'm wishing on? So the F is friends, focus not on yourself, but on the speaker. And in my evaluations, you've heard it, it's not only for the speaker, the focus will be larger group. Because it's not only the speaker will benefit, everyone in the audience. I make it a point that I should tell people, the feedback is not only for the speaker, everyone benefits. So focus primarily on the speaker, and secondary, if I may add that, everyone in the room. So the first is focus, not on yourself, on the speaker and the audience. The second one, that's the first E. Evaluate as per the guidelines. Toastmasters has made it very easy for us. There are guidelines. People do it. Sometimes I've observed we don't follow to the T. I'll give you an example. One of the parts, every part has this, I think, your communication style, right? Correct me. I'm not very good in the parts, right? Chaitra? I think any path you choose, your communication level, right, Bhavana? And one thing is important, the speaker must reveal his or her primary communication style. And to add to that, the impact that communication style has on stakeholders. And I've seen evaluators that kind of miss that. The speaker talks a lot about the 4 or 5 different communication styles, but forgets the key thing what the project calls for. His or her primary style and the impact that style has on stakeholders. So just give you cited one example. So my recommendation, friends, stick to the guidelines. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. It's all there in black and white. In fact, before Pathway started, the traditional education program, for those who are new Toastmasters, we had the first project, 10 project, it was called CTM. That was Competent Toastmaster. Then it was, I think, rechristened to Competent Communicator. Right? So we had 10 projects. Thank you, Smita. 10 projects. Even though I've done 100 times evaluations, I would go through not just the 2-3 guidelines, that's notes for the evaluator. What I would do, I would read the 2-3 pages of literature, which is there. Okay. Right now we don't have a hard copy, so I'm a tip of the old block, Karnakar. I prefer the hard copy. For me reading from a screen is like, man, it's difficult. So I'm just hanging my head in shame. I don't go through in-depth the reading entire literature. So what I do is those 2-3 lines, at least that's the least we can do. I think it's asking too much of us to read the 2-3 pages of that literature to be a better evaluator. But the least we could do is read the guidelines. So first focus is just as per the evaluation guidelines. Don't go over and above it. That's one sin if you ask me. The other one is if you don't do justice, like I cited an example. Okay, the second D or the third in feedback is evaluate the speech and not the speaker. Intentions are good. We're not aware, maybe it's a blind spot. When we're speaking, we tend to talk about the speaker. And if you ask me, we have no right, no business doing that. It's just about the speech, his content, or how that content was delivered. We stay away from the speaker. It's a very thin line separating the speech and the speaker. And many a times, that line is blurred. So perhaps, giving everyone benefit of doubt, as for my limited knowledge, most of us, without our knowledge, we slip to talking about the speaker. And human beings, being the kind of brittle people that we are, tend to take feedback personally when it's spoken about the person. Whereas we focus on the speech, the content, the delivery, the speaker, his or her, not saying ego is hurt, but it's intact. No one feels offended. So evaluate the speech, not the speaker. Okay. So I finished there. Focus. First is, well, that's the guidelines. Secondly, evaluate the speech, not the speaker. Let's go to the D in the feedback. That I come out with. Don't speak about unnecessary, don't mention the content which is unnecessary as an evaluator. I'll give you an example. Many years back, remember, he became a father for the first time. Very special. Anyone's life, Surya? Become father first time? I'm sure you've been there 3-4 years ago, right? So, needless to say, this member was super excited. And just imagine the lovely words he used. I still remember Dr. Vidyamani, the gynecologist. She was wearing a blue sari, a white coat, stethoscope, and even the blue bindi. She came out and told me, Sagar, it's a daughter. I was waiting for that bundle of joy. Then came Jennifer with the pink colored dress, the nurse. She came white upper band, pink dress. She came in a bundle of joy. 3 days in the hospital. We left the hospital. The guard, Puttaraju, he waved and said, have a nice life. Speaker said that. Now comes the evaluator. I love the way you described the first 2 days in the hospital. Dr. Vidyamani, wearing a blue sari, a white coat, stethoscope, blue bindi. Jennifer, the white pink dress, Puttaraju, waving. I mean, what I'm going to say, to cut a long story short, only repeat the content. Repeat the content if it's going to be helpful in your evaluation. Either one more thing, we're no one to alter, tap, tweak the content. It's how it was said, whether it added value to the speaker. But otherwise, let us refrain from adding more, repeating the content. I've seen this over the years because we only have 3 minutes, and with the grace period of 30 seconds, 3.5 minutes, stretching to the maximum. I think we are really doing injustice by using up our time as an evaluator, again going to the content. Okay. So the D's, don't unnecessarily repeat the content what the speaker has shared on stage. Unless it's going to help you in your evaluation. Okay, but finish the focus. First is that's a guideline, I'm doing it purposely. Secondly, speech, okay, not the speaker. And the D is unless you repeat the content, unless it's going to help you in evaluation. Okay, let's go to the B, the feedback. Balance the positive and the negative. I don't like using these words. Rather, I say balance what the speaker did well, his or her strengths in terms of public speaking, and the areas for improvement. In our club, I've seen it's a bit lopsided, if you ask me. So my views, I could be terribly mistaken. Whole lot of whitewashing, placing the speaker on a pedestal. I'm not focusing anyone's here. Generally speaking, 70-80%, if I were to quantify, 70-80% or more than 2/3, sometimes 3/4, about the speaker. You did that well, you did this well, fantastic speech, you're going places, great. And 20% is reserved for the areas of improvement. And I'm a bloke who's a guilty culprit of the other end. Rathir can write books on that. Many variations you've heard, right? I flip it. 20% strengths of the speaker and 80% areas of improvement. In fact, my mentee told me a couple of weeks back, Vijay, I was waiting when you would roast me. I appreciate his honesty. So you're being honest, yeah, right? So my intent is not to roast the speaker. We all come here to learn, if you agree with me. We take time off on Friday evening to learn. And the best part we learn is we tell them where we need to improve. Just not telling us, it's good to know our strengths. It's good, but if you agree with me, it's very important we know where we have to improve. That's why I say balance it. Ideally speaking, 50-50. Don't be as bad as me, like 20 for the plus point, 80 for the area of improvement. At least 60-40. Bangalore is very famous 60-40 sites. Now, of course, we can't afford it. But just think of a BDA site, okay, Bangalore site, 60-40. Maybe 60 for the areas of improvement and 40 for strength. Some real tough nuts like me, Ankit, 70-30. Shivangi will never do what I do, 80-20, okay? Okay, fine. So balance, I would say let the scale tilt more where the speaker needs to improve and less on his or her strength. You just mention it and tell them you're good at that, you're good at this. But all waiting to hear where we need to improve. That's how I would tilt the scales. Okay, the feedback. A. Actionable. Any feedback you dish out must be actionable. Just imagine, Emmanuel tells this. Ankit, improve your body language. Ankit, what is this guy just saying? Ankit, work on your body language. Okay, thanks, Vijay. Ankit, you didn't get me? Work on your body language. I'm just joking, I'm like a good friend of mine. You can move your ears or pulling your legs, okay? Now, what action could possibly he take? I'm going on like a parrot, improve body language, work on body language, be more animal. What does it mean? Ankit's wondering, what the hell is Vijay saying? On the other hand, something actionable. I mean, you're an expert, you're a fantastic speaker. But just example, okay? Ankit was just making eye contact to his right, standing here as the speaker. Now, if I give him an actionable feedback, Ankit, you were looking to your right, which is good. However, observe the audience to your left. They were kind of, you don't make too much of eye contact. So going ahead, you might want to consider making eye contact. Now, compared to the first one, it's very generic and it's very vague. Right? What action could we take? The second one is more clear now. Something along those lines. Or let us say, other good friend Kannakar, I pull his legs now, KD, we fondly call him. Let's say, Kannakar, you must improve your time management skills as a presenter. Thank you for receiving the feedback. A pattern job, next project, work on it. Now, Kannakar is wondering, what does he mean by, what should I do to manage my 7 minutes on stage? My talk time here, I use that phrase. On the other hand, if I tell Kannakar, this presentation, you had about 20 slides. If you agree with me, for a 7-minute speech, would you agree that's rather high? And that's the reason we exceeded our 7 minutes. Going forward, perhaps we could consider maybe about 6 or 7 slides for a 7-minute speech, or maybe maximum 10. That way, if you agree with me, it helps us in our time management skills. Something actionable, just saying greatly improve time management. I'll give you an example, right? So whenever you give feedback, it must be actionable. That means the member or the speaker must be able to take some action on it and bring about change, which will help him in his public speaking journey. So the A is actionable. I won't go through all the, people will kill me now. Okay, I'll ask you then. Okay, the C, the feedback, clarity. Not vague specific, very, very clear. It's actually actionable and clarity kind of linked, but they're also slightly different. Someone gives a feedback. One more good friend, Priyanka, pastor of the club. Priyanka, brilliant presentation, Priyanka. After 5 minutes, the audience lost you. Please work on that. If I tell you now, I know, just look at Ratan's face. What is, only I could see Ratan's face. It said it all. Thank you, Ratan. Thank you, Ratan. Okay, I'm just joking, Priyanka, right? Okay. Now, I give Priyanka that feedback. After 5 minutes was good. After that, the audience lost you. You know what Priyanka will say? You get lost. I mean, she won't tell me that. She's a good friend. But in my mind, what the hell is this guy saying? It's very vague. On the other hand, if I would tell Priyanka, for the first 3-4 minutes, you had the audience with you, they're completely engaged, they're following what you're saying. After the third or fourth minute, observe, people were zoning out. In the sense, people were kind of, pulling out their mobile phones. There were some valid conversations. And I got the feeling, the first 2 minutes were nice examples, it was very lively. The second half of your speech, I just felt it got a bit wordy, a bit very theoretical. So perhaps you want to consider adding more, stories, story-wordy principles. Now, isn't that better than the first example? Where this audience lost you? It's very vague, very unclear, it's very ambiguous. Priyanka is wondering, why not such a feedback? It's better this guy doesn't give me feedback. So when you give feedback, it's very, very clear, specific, not vague, not ambiguous. Only when the speaker knows where you're coming from. Because in your mind, you could be clear what you want to say. But if you speak in a manner which is unclear, no one could help the speaker. So be clear. Finally, the K in feedback. Be kind. As in, first thing, let's use I words. Instead of, just sample this, okay? I'm giving feedback to Bhavana. Bhavana, you need to improve your eye contact. Bhavana, you need to improve your voice modulation. Bhavana, you need to do this. After the meeting, she'll take one finger from each hand, remove my spectacles, poke them in my eye. You stop giving me feedback that way. You won't do that about now. Okay. Okay, the point is no eyes. We don't do it, but at times forget. Use like, I don't need to do it, I'll just do it purposely for the effect's sake. Use like pointing fingers. Whereas when you use an eye, you turn it in. The same message. Okay. Instead of saying, you had this eye contact, I observed that eye contact was a bit less to the right. I observed at the times your voice was a bit flat. So to use, turn back, be kind. Avoid, what should I say, absolute terms. For example, Puneet, I'll take your name. Puneet, you should focus on giving more value to the audience. You should avoid digressing. Thank you for listening. All the best. I'm sure you'll copy this feedback. Puneet, in his mind, you should shut up. So words like, it's very, very hard hitting. Use tentative words. How could we make the shoulds into kinder words? Anyone? S-H-O-U-D? C-O-U-D, absolutely bad person. Could. I was wondering, Puneet, could you consider this being on the top rather than going on tangent? Would you consider reducing one story so that we're on time? So would, even though you're very sure as an evaluator, sound tentative. Tentative means as if you're unsure, as if you're uncertain, because that softens the blow. Kind words is like a boxer. Just imagine two boxers, boxer A, boxer B. Visualize the scene. Both enter the boxing ring. Both the boxers are not wearing gloves. Boxing gloves. Not just visualize the scene. Boxer A punches boxer B in the jaw. Yeah, thank you. That was jaw dropping. Now what happens to boxer B? Broken jaw? Simple. Let's not, no doctors, no dentists in the house, right? Okay, broken jaw. Now visualize this scene. Boxer B, without his gloves, he punches boxer A in his jaw. What happens? Broken jaw. Thank you, thank you so much. Now, just an example, analogy. The same thing when you don't use kind words. It's like punching the speaker, hard hitting. No one loves that. It's not well received. In fact, they kind of become defensive. So use kind words. Eyes, the use into eyes, the shoulds, absolutes into could, would. Perhaps, seems, probably. These are words, tentative words, soften the blow. Okay. Quick check on time. Thank you. Take one step back. It's all amazing. Okay, quick feedback now. Anyone in the house with the F? I won't ask anyone. What's the F? In feedback, I meant. Focus. Yeah, focus. Okay. As an evaluator, how could you add value? Okay. E, first E? Guidelines. On the guidelines. Second E? The speech, not the speaker. The D?
Don't mention.
Yeah. The content. Don't repeat the content. Becomes redundant, dead wood. Okay, thanks, Priyanka. B? Balance areas of improvement, and more so let the scale still towards the area of improvement. Okay, I do it, and after every speech, mine's 80-20 is actually lopsided. I go to the speaker and ask him or her. I hope it wasn't rude. I hope it wasn't very, tad harsh. And touch wood, last 22 years, no speaker has said anything. I don't know if they say that after they go, whenever they curse me, couple of feedbacks to share. Two speeches back to back, 2 weeks, she became weak. She told VP Education, can't you find someone else? He's the only guy in the club. I'm just pulling her legs, okay, pulling her legs. Sweet girl, Shreya. Okay, so balance it. And the A? Action. Something they can do, they can work on right away. Not something which is crazy. You ask them to do something which is impossible. And the C? Very clear, be specific, not vague. And the K? Okay. Use words that heal, not harm. Use words that are persuasive, not abrasive. Okay, let me stop here. I'll open the floor for questions. Regarding feedback, yes.
Yes, Vijay.
Yes.
Is it a good idea to give the feedback in person after the speech, not on the floor, but some things, is it a good idea to give the evaluation like that?
Oh.
What is your opinion?
Okay, thank you. Absolutely, yes it is. Where I would come is, if you feel it's good, it's a bit sensitive, where you can't speak in front of 40 people, that's the right thing to do, absolute thing. One-on-one, you and the speaker, absolutely, to do that, okay? Now, having said that, other side of the coin, that feedback, if you feel, which you're going to dish out only to the speaker, is going to benefit all of us, I would take the speaker to confidence in the day and ask him or her, with your permission, is it okay if I give this feedback to rest of the audience? Like I told you to start, right? Focus. It's not only for the speaker, that's a primary. Secondary, tertiary goal is all of us, 40, 50 of us. So first, yes, Smita, I will go bang on it. After the meeting, one-on-one, just the two of you. But otherwise, ask the speaker, if he or she agrees, I've done. Answer your question, maybe? Oh, thank you, sir. Yes, okay. Fast hand first, Priyanka. Then, then Karnataka. Yes.
There's one challenge that I always face when we have already members who have completed a path and they're restarting their path. And if you have to evaluate them for an icebreaker speech or their first speech purpose, should we evaluate as per the guidelines or also knowing the fact that they've completed a path and they do have some experience? So how do we evaluate such a speaker?
Okay, thank you, Priyanka. Without batting an eyelid, I'd say, if the speaker's completed a path, he or she is doing it second time, which means they've already grown as a speaker, as a public speaker. They have some amount of competence, some amount of expertise. So Priyanka and everyone's very good question. Please step up your evaluation. Let's say, just for discussion's sake, hypothetically speaking, the speaker gave it about 3 years ago. Now he or she's come to the stage. Will you agree they evolved as a public speaker? Now, I think we're doing injustice to the speaker. We just evaluate as per the guidelines. Now, where he or she is based on their competence, you step up your evaluation. Okay? And gently tell him or her where I'm coming from. And I've done this, and people have told me, please don't do the good old thing. You know, be a little more, I won't say harsh, but be a little more critical in your evaluation. So Priyanka and everyone else, please, if the speaker is the second time, which is commendable, second time of doing it, step up your evaluation. Question answer? Yeah, thank you. Yes, Karnataka. I'll come, yes, Abhinav.
Yeah. You mentioned that always evaluate or give feedback on the speech and on the speaker. But what if you have seen the speaker have a certain trait or a certain style of speaking that you also want that to be improved? How do you address that?
Okay. Finish, Karnataka? Okay. Here again, I would say, I go back to my earlier point, Karnataka, focus on the speech and the issues. Now, suppose the speaker has a pattern which is not very desirable, it's repeating, it's clumsy, it's awkward, and you want to tell him or her. Now, focus on the issue. Let us say, who does speak very friendly person? Imtiaz. Okay, thanks, Imtiaz. I just see that people won't punch me at the 8 o'clock either. You know, I think on black eye and all that. One more good friend of his. Okay, now let's say Imtiaz is repeating that pattern. I told him 6 times, half a dozen times, he's repeating that. My blood is boiling. Okay, now sample this. Imtiaz, I'm sure in agree with me, we've had this conversation before. And what do you ask the question? What do you say about this pattern, which is, it appears to be repeating? What's your take? That's a beautiful way to start feedback, asking a question. What do you say about that? Now, everyone, we have some awareness about what we are doing well and also where we're slipping. So, when you ask the question where, then gently bring, don't you think we should focus on that area since it's a pattern which is repeating? Do you think it will serve us well, or it could be detrimental? It could kind of, throw a spanner in the works in our progress. So, Karnataka, to cut long story short, focus on the issue, not the simple. Focus on the performance, not performer. Whatever be the case, because human beings, we love to hear good things, but the minute you start telling me, have you seen your face in the mirror? Have you heard your speeches? Go see the YouTube. Even beyond this fellow, we take it personally. So we got it's a very dealing with what should I say? With kid clubs, got very careful. Hope you answered the question to some extent. Abhinav?
So practically, due to the minute evaluation, what's the best balance between the number of positive points and the number of negative or improvement points towards
You're asking the wrong man. Because Abhinav, to answer your question, mine is lopsided, I told you earlier. I'm giving, if you've seen my evaluation so many years, you've been in the club for a year and a half, I suppose. You've heard about half a dozen, no? About a year?
7 months.
7 minutes, oh man, okay, 7 months, okay. 7 months. At least 2-3 of my evaluations I've heard, I suppose in some months. It's lopsided. 70% is towards area of improvement. Don't do that, like I mentioned earlier. Say about 2-3 areas which they're good at, and maybe 3-4 areas. You as you go, you get up. Right? So when you start, you feel kind of little difficult to tell the speaker, only 2 good things and 5 areas to improve. No, come on, man, I'll take care of you. Maybe Bash should throw in airlines here, some dark corner of airlines. Okay? So when you start, maybe you want to balance it 3 and 3, and just go on, become more comfortable. One more thing, as you asked me, a colleague of mine told me, one must earn the right to give feedback. Allow me to say it again. Beautiful statement, it's still ringing in my ears. One must earn the right to give feedback. So again, where I'm coming from, in line with your question, Anand, is when you start, you try to give 2 areas, you say 2 things, brilliant Surya, you did this well, you did that well, and then the horoscope, no, Jatka, print out, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, Surya will collapse. Sun won't rise tomorrow. Okay? So then, as you begin your journey, you may balance it out, even areas of improvement and plus points. Little, then you can slowly the scales. Okay, answer the question to some extent? Okay, any other questions? Yes, Priyanka?
One thing I've observed is there are many times a lot of speakers do not at least meet the guidelines. And at that point of time, at least I'm in a situation where I'm not very sure how the speaker would take it if I point blank tell them who did not meet the guidelines. So is it okay to still be honest and be point blank? Or is there a very subtle way to put it across that they are not met the guidelines?
Okay, okay. Thank you, Priyanka. Very, very challenging situation to face as a evaluator. We always, before I answer the question, we always feel we have only the OR option, OR. That means I have to be honest, cut and dry, to quote you lady, point blank, or I have to be sweet. Do that, polishing. No, there's something called 3-letter word and, A and D. Could I be honest and polite? So, to answer your question, Priyanka, without mincing words, not point blank, that's scary. Point blank, let's avoid point blank, cut and dry, big terms, okay? Let's say honest. You have to tell the person, drop your voice, be honest. Well, when you have to tell people unpleasant news, friends, how do we feel? Any unpleasant news in your life. All of us are common, 8.5 billion people on this planet. However different we are, we're all common. When you have to give unpleasant news, how do you feel? I believe name present wants an answer. Huh? Guru, how do you feel? You have to give, guess. This is possible, Divya, you can answer. I don't need other guess. How do you feel? Yes, Shamas, how do you feel? Richard sir. I want an answer, I'll give you.
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, remorse, okay, remorseful, uncomfortable, any other? Heavy. Heavy. Oh, thank you for your name?
Albert.
Oh, sorry?
Albert.
Albert. Oh my gosh, you share a name with her. That's a heavy name, man. Albert, okay. Now that's how you feel. Heavy, remorse, uncomfortable. Explain that in other words. Let's say, who's the name? Let's take one more person in the house. Very friendly. Will not attack me. Oh, Fazlur, my very good friend. Okay, I'm giving Fazlur, okay? Fazlur, just imagine the scene. You have not met any greater than project. Not even 0.5, again 1. Okay, I've given the now, Fazlur, I have to come to an area in the speech. I just don't know how to put it, but it's extremely important I convey this. Because in our journey of public speaking, if I don't share this feedback, I think it's not going to serve us. Not you, serve us. Even though he's a recipient, I say serve us. Now by saying this, if you are in Fazlur's place, what's going on in your mind? By these 2-3 short sentences.
Anxious.
Want to learn.
Who's an anxious? Naveen. I am anxious, Naveen. No? Okay, thank you. Okay, Madhesha, I want to learn. Thank you, my friend. I want such a okay, I don't want a doctor, but be honest. What have I done if you're in Fazlur's place?
A positive mindset gets up wherever criticism is given to you.
Ma'am, just because it's your husband, ma'am? Okay. No, I'm just joking, just kidding. Thank you, Mrs. Fazlur. I'll get your name later, ma'am. Okay. Sorry, say that again. You want to learn? Okay, very much in line with what Ma'am said. Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? So, yes, buddy?
Receptive.
Receptive, okay.
Open up.
Open up. Receptive, open up. Again, synonyms?
You want to soften the blow.
Soften the blow. Okay, thank you, Puneet. Okay, thank you, friends. Most of them. I'm preparing him. What are his other words? I'm preparing him. Now, will you agree? Fazlur is in a better position to receive that feedback. I don't know how to put it. It's extremely important. If I don't do this, I'm wondering, how will he serve us? Pause. Okay. Now, back to this with us again question. If you feel it's going to be a real blow for the speaker, tell him or her that kind of thing. Because 40, 50 people in the room, in a very nice way also, you prepare them and then pause and tell them, I'm afraid Fazlur, you didn't meet the guidelines. He'll never walk on this line again towards Ashirvad. He'll take any line, green line, purple line, yellow line, new pink line, upcoming blue line, any line, but you want to come this line. So if you feel that the person receiving the feedback is a bit brittle, could perhaps get shaken up, outside. Okay. But one thing, non-negotiable, we got to break the news.
So then can you tell them before we go on to this stage, we have that page, inform them in advance that you have not met the guidelines, so I will be announcing that. Is that also?
Wonderful. Seek their permission. And it's the person, 5 fingers are different in anyone's hand, right? These 3 people can take it very comfortably. These 2 are going to, rattle. So these 2 can get better. But one thing, let us not dilute it. Let's not avoid it. Like lifting the carpet, pushing the brush, the dirt inside, pretending everything's hunky dory. No, I think that's the mother of all sins. Tell him or her. Okay, and thanks for asking, Priyanka. For heaven's sake, I've used this. I've seen this term is reduced of late. Finished the project. Person not met the guidelines. First load. I don't think I can pass you. What the hell? Some 7th, 8th grade, man. I don't think I can pass you, man. That's sad. That's heavy. That's heavy, Albert. Okay? So let's avoid the pass, fail. You are promoted to next project. You are demoted to the other project. No, this is not school. Okay? So tell them. Leave the ball in their court. Okay? Now, guidelines haven't met. If I were in your place, I would seriously consider repeating this project. Okay? It's in our interest. It's up to you. I leave it to you. Oh, that's joking. You're a good speaker. Okay, Priyanka, question answered? Right, our time? Oh, thank you. You're a kind man. Okay, any question, Mike? Yes?
If a speaker has met all the guidelines properly, then how do you know giving a feedback, more feedback, what is working?
Okay, okay. Thank you, Smita. Now, people have met all guidelines. Run your time? No. Now, we are different than everyone else. A speaker has met all the guidelines, but you've got to hold that magnifying glass. I mean, dig deep. It's not easy. There are people like, well, it's very tough. All of us have gone through it. They've ticked all the boxes, all guidelines met, and you're wondering, what the hell did I do? Now, here's that everyone else, for the sake of giving an air, don't dish out something. It's got to be genuine. It's got to be something, okay? Everyone, including me, everyone on this planet, however good we are at speaking, there's something we need to improve. So that's on my earlier point, the F, focus and feedback. When you have that mindset, that intent, I'm here to the best of my ability to help the speaker grow, then you're going to. That's why over the years, when people ask me, right, when I'm not an evaluator, how would I do my team only job? How do my SWA job? This, that. I said no. When I'm an evaluator, I put on that critical thinking hat, nothing else. Even if wife messages me, I won't see. And I can go at home and get a different feedback. That's a different thing. But jokes apart, okay? 100% undivided attention. Those 7 minutes or 3 minute speeches, 14 minutes, 21 minutes, the longer is more difficult. But you've got to. Whatever they have met, whichever box is ticked, whichever guideline they have met, if you all agree with me, there is still room for improvement. The best of speakers, even with due respect, the world champions public speaking or any orator, any top politician, any businessman, industrialist, anyone who's in any field, academia, industry, who speaks excellently well, he or she is good at it. Now, as an evaluator, are you, mindful to that? Can you pick up? Okay, I'll answer your question on next time. That's what we come here for. And again, like with Priyanka's earlier question, they're doing so well, they're repeating the part. And you're feeling, kind of lost. Hey, what do I do with this person now? What could I possibly offer him? Tough question, man. Time up. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. More questions allowed. Yes. Chandrasekhar, any questions? Okay. He's saying bye from there. Okay. Yes, Naveen.
Imagine 2 people have given their ice-breaking speech. Both have done pretty well job.
Okay.
One's content is very interesting.
Okay.
And the other one, content is average, but they expressed well. So when we are giving the feedback or voting,
Okay.
whom should we consider?
Okay. Have we finished?
Yeah.
We are going on a different tangent now.
I know.
Evaluation, now we're going voting.
But that's also kind of feedback everybody gives, right?
I won't say voting is feedback. It's just you're voting in your opinion, your view. You felt he or she spoke better than someone else. That's your opinion. That's not feedback. So I'm not being correct, right, but I'm calling this clear speech. I think we're going different tangent. That's again very subjective. How you're swayed, how you're influenced by someone's content is very good, someone dealt with content is very good, someone how they just present on stage, whole lot of factors, bunch of factors come into play, kick in. It's each one's, okay, so subjective, at that moment, that perception, it's not a, okay, yes? I think done with the questions? Okay. So before I sign off, I hand it back. Yes, sir, please.
My question, Vijay, is that the question might be a little long. So previously, in the CC manual and how we used to choose an evaluator, if say one is a VP education, they used to choose the evaluator based on the level of the, or rather the level of the particular speech, right? So if it's a level 3 speech, you look for someone who's beyond level 3.
Absolutely.
Now, in pathways, you see that somebody is giving very good evaluations, but then probably that person is at level 1 or level 2. And the speaker is someone who is giving a level 5 speech. Yes.
Okay.
So, according to you, if the person sticks to the technique and also adheres to all the guidelines, follows the objectives of this, is this person still a good evaluator for this speaker? That is my question.
Okay, yes. One word, yes, here's the word. The level is at level 2, I got your question right, speaker is level 5. If the evaluator is doing a good job, meeting the guidelines, all what we discussed, right, the feedback I gave, giving the more, in fact, if he's able to, it's happened in our club, actually, which is commendable. Evaluator was a level lower than the speaker. Amazing evaluation. I even told the speaker, the evaluator, excellent. It's that self-belief that I can do a job. Otherwise, what human tendencies, no man, speaker is there, man, level 5, I'm here, level 1. What's all? If you've heard other evaluations, you've got the hang of it, so be it. Yeah. Yes, my answer is yes, absolutely. Which is a very nice book to encourage other people, like, don't get overawed. Don't, the speaker's level 5, so don't put him on a pedestal. I'm only level 1, and don't, pull yourself down. Thank you. Okay. You guys come right in time, I'm going to close my session. Okay, so friends, before I sign off, I'll take no more questions. Thank you I won't say a lovely audience, I would rather say lovely participants in the true sense of the word, because you have participated. Thank you everyone, and especially to all my Toastmaster friends who ask questions. I hope it served everyone else, not only the ones who ask questions, but also those who are listening. Okay, so before I sign off and hand back to present, one line regarding feedback. Feedback makes good things better, and better things best. Back to the present.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Vijay Anand, for that insightful session. I'm sure all of us have a lot of takeaways from the session and how to evaluate and how to give feedback. Can we have once again a big round of applause for Vijay? All right, now it's time to switch the gears, and we will start our election. And election is only the members are allowed to vote, but the guests can stay back and observe. It's absolutely fine. Now, for we all have heard the saying that change is the only constant. And today is that day where we are going to elect our new leadership for the term, July to December 2026. And to take the election forward, we have someone who is a software engineer from Drexel University from the States. And she has been working as a consultant for startups. She has been part of the club for some time, and she has taken various roles herself at the club. Sergeant at Arms in January 2022. VP Membership, January 2024. VP Education, January 2025. And the club president, July 2025. So members and dear guests, please join your hands in welcoming our soft and cheerful immediate past president, Madam Chatra Chandapillai. A round of applause for our immediate past president, Madam Chatra Chandapillai, and the election committee, Toastmaster Alan Arana and DTM Vijay Anand. Let's give them a big round of applause. I would also like to give my heartfelt thank you to all the members who stepped forward and nominated themselves. Thank you for stepping up and participating in the election. Can we have a big round of applause for everyone? Now with that, with the new committee coming on board, although I know we still have 1 month to go, but I'm sure my entire executive committee must be feeling a little relieved, right? I know in my heart, and I also wish the very best to the newly elected leadership team, and I look forward to have them put their best effort with commitment and dedication. So welcome the new leaders. Can we once again welcome the new leadership? I think with that, I adjourn meeting number 1529. Everyone for participating in big numbers. As DTM Vijay Anand said, we value and appreciate all of your presence today. Thank you, everyone.